All right, this might be fun. Decided for people that might be thinking about getting into buying a travel trailer, what you might expect over the course of the years that you own the trailer. So I thought I would review just on the Imagine 2950 RL that we picked up in 2017, the things that have either, I guess, broken or failed over the last 8 years, but I put it into two categories. First category will be stuff that failed that was replaced under warranty. And then I will talk about the things that failed after the warranty period was over. So I'll have to read off my list. And I actually tried to find the punch list I had from when I first bought the trailer, and for the life of me, I couldn't find it. I know it's probably nested somewhere on my computer, but I've got a pretty good memory for the things that went on. So this might be eye-opening for some new travel trailer owners. And as you know, if you've watched my videos, I think they could be made a lot better. Certainly could have a lot more oversight in the construction process. So let's break down what's happened over 8 years. So under warranty, the very first day we had it and we decided to stay in a campground next to the dealership, one of the stabilizer jacks didn't work, and they ran over and fixed that real quick. On our first trip, we were sitting in the living room and I heard a hissing sound and found that the awning switch had been placed on the kitchen cabinet, and they ran a really long screw through there, so it was touching the water line, and eventually it just basically went through the water line, and so we had to have that fixed. The Grand Design actually authorized a mobile RV tech to come out and replace the line. It was not a big deal, but it's a big deal that it actually was put together that way. The AC gaskets were never tightened down at the factory, and that we discovered when we got into our first rainstorm, when we were heading up into Upper Texas, near Paladuro Canyon. We were stopping at a campground and it started raining, and man, it was nasty. And so that wasn't something that I could wait to say, take it in and, to a dealership. I just had to get the shroud off, inside shroud off, find the 4 nuts and crank that down. And actually that was the case with both air conditioners. So anyway, once we got to some of the repairs under warranty, they went through those air conditioners and made sure that they were torqued the right way. The fireplace, I think probably there are a lot of people that have had problems with the fireplaces. They had to replace ours twice under warranty. Haven't had a problem since. The fresh water, city water valve failed on one of our trips. They took care of that. The shower pan wasn't braced underneath, so when you got into it, you could feel it actually sag a little bit. So they fixed that under warranty. They basically just took 2x4s, which they should have done at the factory, covered with polyfoam and braced it. And I actually ended up doing a little more bracing myself. We had a outlet on one of our long trips. As it turned out, it was an outlet. We couldn't figure out what it was, but it was tripping the breaker in the bathroom, the ground fault interrupter. And it basically was an outlet behind one of the chairs that had a ground on it that was so long, it had been tailed out so long that when they put it back, all the wiring back into the box, that basically started connecting with the positive and shorting out. So fortunately, they got that fixed. The converter failed under warranty. That was replaced. The power jack failed under warranty. That was replaced. The entrance door and the screen door were never properly installed at the factory, and the door wouldn't lock all the way, and the screen door wouldn't mate up with the entrance door so that you could open them together or close them together. And it was funny because when I went to the dealership down here to have it fixed, they basically told me they couldn't fix it. That if they touched it, if they did anything to it, it would be worse than it was right now. And of course, once I went to Indiana and had it serviced, it was fixed in a few minutes. So we had a slide recall, And I think most of the people that have Grand Design models from that year remember that slide recall where screws are snapping off the outside of the trailer. They fixed that. And then there was a propane regulator recall, and there was a shortage. Now, I wasn't under warranty at this point, but it was a recall. There was a shortage in the country at the time for regulators. And so I was actually able to get a regulator online from another RV store, and Grand Design let me install it. I did a drop test. I sent them all the photos of it, and they actually accepted that test and took me off the recall list. There was a broken dump valve bracket that was replaced under warranty. The front cap lights, some of them burned out, so they replaced those. Internal trim, there was some of that was loose. I mean, that's kind of I mean, it happens, right? That's not really a big deal. So there were a few things like that had to get replaced. Had a completely new roof put on twice. So if you're interested in that, I'll throw a link up here for my Trilogy of Terror videos. It's a 3-part series. You'll want to watch it. You'll probably get a little bit of I don't know, my views on the industry as well as what actually went on. It was a mess. Okay, so what happened when we got out of warranty? So the furnace needed to be foil taped due to excessive heat coming out around the air ports in the furnace, and we noticed that the drawers above the furnace were getting really hot. That's something I think they ought to do at the factory. They don't do it. I think they should do it. It's very easy to do. It took me probably 10 minutes, and it totally took care of the problem. I had a lot of shrinking external window seals, so I had to buy those seals and replace those. And man, that stuff's expensive. It's surprising how expensive those seals are. We had a Schwintek slide failure when we were at a campground in Oklahoma, and Tammy and I fixed that ourselves. My son helped. He came the next day, ordered it, had the Schwintek motor delivered to the campground office, grabbed it, put it in. It went a lot easier than I thought it was going to go. And after that, I actually replaced all the motors because they were all sounding a little bit sick. I had to reinforce the pantry shelves because they were really flimsy. And then 2 of the cabinets, one on each side of the couch, just horrible construction. And I have a video out there of rebuilding those cabinets. Now nothing would fail in there. You could stand on that cabinet and it's not going anywhere. There were 3 broken straps under the trailer that hold the tin skirting. I had to replace those. They were basically broken in half. I also had to replace that mesh fabric. It's basically a tape under there on wherever there isn't the chloroplast, which is like a plastic sheet. There's actual wood, and it's covered by this plastic mesh, and a lot of that had bubbled and come off, so I had to replace that. Of course, the pleather furniture that everyone complains about, we had to replace the furniture because it took about maybe 3 years and that stuff started to flake off. It started with one little spot, and within a few months, boy, it was a mess. I had a broken brake wire going to one of the driver's side rear brake. I'm not sure how that happened, but I ended up taking care of that. We've had numerous leaking P-traps and faucet connections, which are no big deal. I kind of expect some of that to happen. The air admittance valve in the bathroom, I replaced that. The plastic sink in the bathroom got a crack in it because it was just a cheap plastic sink, and I replaced it with a better quality one. I would have loved to have gotten like a stainless steel one and put it in there, but I couldn't find anything that would fit the shape that they had cut into that counter. So the shower door has been off the track. We've had a shower faucet leak, shower door wiper blades that keep the water from going between the panels. Those have fallen off, and I've replaced them by putting a little silicone on them and putting them on. The base of the toilet was completely replaced last year because it had some sort of an internal failure. And if I would have bought the parts separately, and torn it all apart and put it back together. It was actually about the same price to just buy a brand new base and put it on. And I'll tell you what, if you've got problems, I really think that's the route to go. Bedroom door jamb was loose. I fixed that. The glass door in the entertainment center wouldn't stay up. It started coming down when we would travel. I got that fixed with a magnet. New converter this year, and had to replace the lithium batteries. But again, you'd expect that you're going to have to, if you have your trailer for 8 years, you're probably going to replace your batteries at some point. And given how things are made nowadays, you'll probably replace your converter too. You probably saw my bearings and races video. You know I did that. Typically, though, that's just a maintenance item, and nothing really broke there. And as a matter of fact, when I took those apart and looked at them, I could have easily just repacked them and kept going, but it was really inexpensive to just do the whole deal. So net, there were a lot of things on the warranty list that should have never existed when it left the factory, like the slide recall, the screw in the water line, the AC gaskets, the water valve, the shower pan not braced correctly, the shorted outlet, and the shabby construction of the cabinet. So those are the things where I think they should have kept, they should have had some sort of review process where they look at how things are done and given an okay. I'm not sure what kind of supervision actually takes place there, especially after having my roof replaced there once. I'm pretty sure the supervision is quite limited. So anyway, that's it over the course of 8 years. Who knows what will happen this year, but if anything bad happens, you guys will be the first to know. So until next time, happy camping.